Alright, so by now a lot of you are already familiar with the performance and graphic issues of this game, and I intend to skip all of that so we can dive a little bit deeper into its core. When I say core, I mean the elements which are absolutely vital to a rally game. And before we do that, let me tell you that WRC is one of those games which made me happy and confused at the same time. The more I played the game, the more I had to rethink what I felt. The more I had to rethink what I felt, the more changes I had to make on my script. But let's not waste any more time talking about all of this. Let's jump straight to the point. A game can be judged on various aspects, such as the visuals, optimization, physics, sound, pricing, platform availability, post-launch support, frequency of maintenance, online support, etc. etc. And what happens is that majority of people criticize too quickly and oftentimes judge a game on a very basic level, which isn't wrong, but they are sort of blinded by the dense smoke of criticism which limits their ability to examine the core. Now when I say core of a rally game, I mean three things: physics, stage design, and the engagement of Co-Driver. These pillars are not in any specific order. All three are vital and they are exactly what makes or breaks a rally game. It really does not matter how many stages a game has if the car handles like crap, or if your co-driver sounds like he's floating inside your car in Zen mode while you're panicking and doing 180 kilometers an hour. I hope you have a clear understanding of what I'm talking about. Now without further ado, let's dive into Codemasters' latest pool. I believe I speak for a lot of people when I say that WRC should have been in the oven for a bit longer. Don't get me wrong, it is good, but much like an undercooked turkey cooked a month before Christmas, it is unfinished, inedible, and pointless. But it's not all bad news, because the devs have been receptive of the feedback from the community, and it seems that they have been hard at work. Within a month we have had 2 patches, and it appears that slowly but steadily the game will be hammered to perfection. Wait a second. Perfection? Should I be using that word?
This is the worst!
Despite the current state of the game, it is enjoyable. Rally 1 cars are a highlight alongside many other gems. But truth be told, I have spent most of my time in other classes. I don't have anything against Rally 1 cars. They are very nimble and I have played with them a bunch. But fast doesn't necessarily mean fun. Now I'm sure we are all familiarized with its offerings and shortcomings. If you have been a Rally 2.0 fan, you will not be disappointed, as this time we have more locations, cars, and masochistically long stages. But the real question is it a worthy sequel to Dirt Rally 2.0? Before answering that, let's discuss other aspects of this game. And I would like to start with handling model and physics. The shift from Dirt Rally 2.0 to WRC is a bit hard to explain, but I'll try my best. There is a very common idiom that I am sure everyone is familiar with: 2 steps forward, 1 step back. This was supposed to be the motto for Codemasters while developing WRC, but I think they might have had it the other way around. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It makes perfect sense. You see, they transformed Rally 2.0's weaknesses into WRC's strengths, and then continued to transform Rally 2.0's strengths into WRC's weaknesses. I know it all sounds very confusing, but allow me to explain. Simcade is the term used to describe a game which has good mix of simulation and arcade mechanics. WRC has given Simcade a whole new meaning. How is it that they have more cars, better and longer stages, good sound, and weird physics? By weird, I do mean weird. I do not mean arcadey or simply bad. I mean weird. The game feels improved in a lot of areas while being more beginner friendly and less punishing. Unsurprisingly, it does bear some resemblance to its predecessor, with its handling model being identical in a way. There hasn't been a major overhaul to the physics, so feel free to think of this title as a really big DLC for Dirt Rally 2.0, or maybe Dirt Rally 2.1, or even 1.9. Since the game hasn't been finished properly, it would be unfair to compare it to its predecessor. But for the sake of this video, let's see what we have in our hands. Let's start with the behavior of the cars. Between both the games, somehow WRC showcases an improvement while being a downgrade in some areas. The overall physics are quite nice, but everything around the car seems to have taken a turn to arcade city. Trees do not damage the car enough. At best, they will do some cosmetic damage, but nothing performance affecting. The signposts have been trained to stand guard by Kratos himself. And rocks or inclined surfaces do not upset the balance of the car all that much. Aside from all that, tarmac is improved and cars do not seem to be sliding around anymore. Gravel shows a tad bit of an improvement too. But in corners, cars tend to slide automatically, as if there is a drift button inside the cockpit. Surely newer cars are easy to drive because they are built that way, but this phenomenon should not be applicable to old cars, and especially Group B. They slide around effortlessly without doing scandiflick or any sort of weight shift. I have literally zero experience with real life rallying, but I don't think you have to be a WRC driver to understand the basic movements of a car. And in addition to my previous point, there is this feeling which I get, which once again is a bit hard to describe, but I'll try my best. The cars feel weightless and glued to the surface at the same time. Also, there is this feeling of oversteer and understeer simultaneously. Sometimes the car would tell you that it has got your back and you can push it a bit harder. So you do exactly that just to find out that the car was not lying. And right when you least expect it, it betrays you. The confidence that you build while pushing the car should be rewarding. But something just tips off the car and it loses all of the senses. Another thing I find a bit off are the grip levels of rear-wheel drive cars on wet gravel. The cars do lose grip, but they seem to gain traction back up really quickly. It isn't as progressive. It could be the new tire model or something, but it's baffling to have this much traction. Take a look at this. I drove a Lancia 037 on wet gravel with my steering wheel set to 810 degrees while doing proper heel toe. Everyone knows that 037 is a 300 horsepower supercharged monster. But it feels less like a monster and more like a docile house cat. With this house cat, I got a decent enough time too. All of this was done in under 10 minutes with stock tune. It is not impressive by any means. I'm just showing all of this to further support my point on wonky physics and how easy of a task it really was. Imagine doing the same thing at 540 degrees of rotation, or even less than that. To sum it up, I will say that despite all of the stuff that I found off, I will continue to play the game alongside Rally 2.0 and RBR. After all, we are not really in a position to pick and choose when it comes to rally games. Before we move on to damage scale, let's talk about Group B cars first. I am all for cars with all-wheel drives and sequential gearboxes and hybrid witchcraft, but at the end of the day, all I want to do is heel toe on a car which doesn't understand the simple concept of turning. Group B has held the reputation to be the most outrageous and lethal motorsport division to ever exist. And with practically no rules, it gave us some of the finest machines which are even savage by today's standards. But in this game, they lack their raw animalistic instincts, and I think it has 3 reasons for that. Number 1 would be the different engines being used. Dirt Rally 2.0 used Ego engine and WRC uses Unreal Engine 4. I'm not sure if Codemasters developed new physics from scratch or improved upon their old one. Whatever the reason might be, this shift has shown some things to be similar, some to be better, while others not so much. Number 2 is that all Group B cars present in the game are from the year 1986, meaning they are in their final form, which, in case you didn't know, was the same year Group B was laid to rest. Some of the cars between WRC and Dirt Rally 2.0 differ in speed, thrill, and weight management. Look at this one. The Delta S4 differs in weight and power. I am aware that between 1985 to 86, some structural changes were made to the car as it was too brittle in its 890 kg form. But did it actually got increased to 1000 kilos? I'm not really sure. But upon some light internet reading, I came across this article which claims that the car weighed around 950 to 1050 kilos because it was too light in its testing phase. So maybe Rally 2.0 focused more on the initial phases of some of the cars, whereas WRC focuses on the final forms. Accuracy on the specifications of these cars might need some confirmation. Even the top speed and acceleration on the default tune between both the games are incredibly different. In Rally 2.0, Delta S4 crosses 200 km an hour easily and accelerates like a wild animal running after its prey. On WRC, it does feel a little bit sluggish and not so different from other modern all-wheel drive cars. It could be that the default tune is just bad, so I do think that tuners might need to come forth and make Group B cars feel like their usual selves. And finally, number 3 would be the handling or tire model. Irrespective of what surface you drive it on, it behaves properly, which feels off. And this behavior is not simply limited to 4-wheel drive cars. Rear-wheel drive Group B cars showcase a similar behavior, like I mentioned earlier. Giving needless traction to Group B cars is like putting blue cheese on a PB&J sandwich. It makes no sense. A Group B car isn't a nun. It's like a naughty girl who knows how to misbehave and knock your socks off. The whole point of driving cars like Delta S4 or Quattro is to experience a fraction of the thrill that the OG drivers did. These cars are supposed to be next to undrivable. I mean, Delta S4 is 460 horsepower cardboard box which weighed less than a ton. And that's exactly how it should have felt. But it feels like an ordinary all-wheel drive car. It seems like Codemasters just reduced the responsiveness of Rally 1 or Rally 2 cars and slapped it onto Group B. I was sliding the car around in a haphazard manner and the car was still well behaved. I hate to say this, but this left me a bit unsatisfied. Overall, between WRC and Rally 2.0, I would still prefer 2.0 if I want to indulge myself in Group B. No matter how great the physics of the vehicle are, they will be incomplete without proper hardcore damage. And the damage scale in time trials is a bit inconsistent. As shown here, I am hitting a tree at more than 150 km an hour and somehow still managing to survive without getting terminal damage. Somehow the car still manages to start and behaves as if nothing has happened. Sure, every once in a while after a brutal crash, you might puncture a tire, lose a door, or your bonnet latch might come loose. But apart from that, nothing really adds on to the fear factor. The adrenaline rush one should be getting while speeding in a rally car on narrow roads is next to none. I could very well be traveling at 180 km an hour while talking to my girl and listening to songs. Don't mistake this thing with the game being inherently boring, because it isn't. But if sheer thrill was something you were looking for, then you might have to look somewhere else. I found the damage scale to be similar to Rally 2.0. Actually, no, I take that back. It is a bit more lenient than 2.0. Just look at this video by FIA WRC and you will understand what I'm talking about.
In Finland from Tanak and
we're off properly as well. It's a big roll.
Big shot for Robin Pera. Huge off.
Gus Greensmith 1 second behind Newville coming into this stage. Oh, Gus!
Oh my word!
Oh, he just hooked it into that ditch and it's a full roll.
Hardcore damage needs to be a thing in this game. It is taking away the risk to reward factor and making it feel more like an arcade title. I mean, how is it that I simply lost nothing here? What is this damage scale? How are you even alive, you Phil Mills is the reason why I cannot move on from Rally 2.0. Physics and handling model aside, a co-driver's voice is an equally important and often overlooked factor. Sure, the graphics and engine sounds help, but without proper tone and delivery, a rally game is incomplete. Phil's voice made the game so much more better than it really was. Sure, it was still a simcade, but the experience was unlike any. I don't think anyone ever complained regarding Phil's pace note delivery system because he was strapped to a motion simulator with helmet, mic and intercom system while recording them.
Slow, full left of a 60. Full left. Into 6 right of a crest. Into 1 left tightens. 50. Left middle of a crest. 150. 1 right off, small cut.
See what I mean? This created a sense of awareness which forced you to focus on the road. There was tension in Phil's voice and you could feel him jumping as the car moved around. It felt as if he was sitting right next to you. In comparison, WRC's pace notes are acceptable, but barely. They sound edited. And by edited, I mean cut-paste edited.
left over crest, 160. 3 right short, 30 crest, and 3 left.
I'm actually quite disheartened with this decision. There isn't anything wrong with the new co-driver voices. Jonathan Jackson and Kirsty Riddick sound great, but in-game they sound, well, not very good. Listen to this.
And crest, 110. 6 right, 3 in, and 4 left. Around wheel, 30 crest, and slight right, long, and 6 left over crest.
Flat 3 right for 70, and flat 2 left, 80. Slight right over flat crest, 40. 4 left plus at the end, 60. Slowing, late 5 right minus over crest. Line 50, turn 4 left plus.
Right to the crest, 300. Right to the crest, 40. 3 right, 100. 6 right, 80.
Maybe 40. Flat right, 60. Flat 2 right, maybe 60. Flat right, 80. Care, late 4 right, 20. 4 right, shiny. To 5 left plus sharp, past the wall, shiny. Opens to long flat left. To flat crest.
That combination of trusting your driver, delivering pace notes without any error, while being scared and stressed is what makes all the difference in the world. I wonder why they didn't want to record all of this in a more authentic manner. I'm not really sure if this was a budgetary issue or the project was time constrained. Either way, another point towards Rally 2.0. The voice of co-drivers are nice but not as engaging. It doesn't sound as immersive, and I really think Codemasters took a step back here. Right, so the one thing I absolutely loved in Rally 2.0 is the sound of engine when it hits the rev limiter. WRC has a nice sound too, but I still think Rally 2.0 has the upper hand. Don't you think that Rally 2.0 is still a bit better in sound department? Another thing is engine sounds, and I believe once again Rally 2.0 is slightly better. One thing which I really miss is the sound of gravel hitting the car. It isn't a big deal, but listening to that made me really happy. One other thing which I really miss in WRC is the gearbox grinding sound when you release the clutch too early and it doesn't shift into a proper gear. I like driving without the heads-up display for immersion factor, and sometimes I can't understand if I have messed up. In Rally 2.0, you could instantly get to know that you missed the gear. Sadly, no such thing is present here. Overall, I still think Rally 2.0 is a bit ahead. If Codemasters decides to patch these things up, it would really enhance the immersion a little bit. Alright, time for my unsolicited opinion. I'm not a toxic RBR worshipper, but I would have loved to see a collaboration between the devs from Codemasters and the Hungarian team of Rally Saviors. I know that WRC is a commercial game and isn't some sort of a passion project, but just picture it for a moment. Passionate people working together to provide us rally fans with something brand new and extraordinary. Just like Dirt Rally 1 was designed by people who were actually enthusiastic and invested. Yes, it will be extremely time consuming, but anyways, now I want to state that I won't be bringing RBR to this dogfight. It is on a different level and there is no point talking about it. With that said, let me simply put it out there that WRC is better than Rally 2.0 in some ways, while being backwards but still being a successor somehow. I'm not really sure how else to put it, and I really think Codemasters should take this seriously. Or rather, EA should understand the essence of time and importance of rally games. The point is, rally titles are scarce, and there are a lot of people who want a proper game. It's up to them to either make the title appeal to everyone or a very small amount of masochist hardcore enthusiasts. But you see, I'm not saying the game is horrid. I still believe it is a good but unfinished product. And despite its weird physics and optimization issues, it really is a good purchase. I would still recommend to wait for the game to be a bit more polished. It has potential. Hardcore damage can still be a thing. The missing savagery from Group B can be patched. The game can still be optimized, and maybe, just maybe, EA will come to their senses. Okay, the last one might not happen. But that's been it. I've been Darth Snape, and may the downforce be with you.